Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, CJ, the host and originator of Truthbuster News, and today is October 31st, 2017. Happy Halloween. As I was at work today, I was making mental notes on preparing final stages for some of the reports that I've been working on and to produce and shoot. But upon doing so, a major event, if you will, took place here in the homeland of the state of New York, and that is the Manhattan terrorism incident. So I shifted my efforts and put the other reports I've been working on the back burner for the moment.
What do we want to buy?
Upon doing so, I came upon some discoveries that may potentially prove this being a false flag attack, and I'm going to read some questions to support that thought process. The first one is that my boss, they looked over the articles that were posted by the mainstream propaganda agencies, CNN, MSNBC, and the like, and the articles were images of the point of attack, so forth and so on, and the surrounding area of the victim impact, and I didn't see any, which is odd. Usually when somebody strikes somebody with a vehicle, you'll see blood or remains on the vehicle, and I didn't see any when I had the chance to quickly look at them when they pointed it to my attention. I didn't see any blood or remains of the injured. Now, before I jump any further, I'm not calling this a hoax or anything on that area to demonize that people actually did die and get injured. But what I am pointing out that this is a false flag. Because here's some facts. Fact number one. The U.S. has some of the most advanced audio, video, and photography surveillance system on the planet. And they are ran by the alphabet gangs and the deep state, the NSA, the FBI, the ATF, the CIA, and all the other 17 or more sub-agencies that are contracted with the deep state government. And they have 24/7 ability to log in at any moment's notice to every street camera, to every store. Inside and out of any area. All your major retailers that have those camera systems in their facility work in conjunction with the DHS, the FBI, the CIA, the ATF, the NSA, and I just mentioned the other agencies. Not only local law enforcement. So they can go anywhere they choose and review the footage captured by these cameras, and also audio recording. So with that out there, you gotta tell me that with all the Big Brother tech that's out there, that they couldn't find this guy traveling the Jersey. If you took the Jersey Turnpike, which has a toll bridge on it, I've never been there, but I've looked up the road maps and seen Street View images and Google Map images. Just for kicks, I looked it up. The Jersey Turnpike has a toll bridge on it, and all those toll bridges have cameras as well. So you mean to tell me that they couldn't spot this guy out traveling from Jersey to Manhattan? Because all the reports that came out said this guy had 2 residences, one in New Jersey and one in Florida. He has lived here for 7 years on the green card status. So he's been living here when Obama was in power. That allowed all these people in. Open the floodgates. Let them pour on in. So all his legal documentation, everything you want to know about him is in the federal database. So they know who this guy is, what he's linked to. So, in another perspective, the alphabet gangs knew exactly who this guy is and was. And another suspicious thing that was covered is that he was shot in the neck. If this guy was such a clear and present danger as he's proclaimed to be, why didn't they just kill him right then and there? Headshot. Even if the local PD, and not to mention all the federal agencies that are based in New York, such as DHS, FBI, CIA, ATF, that are probably there on scene when they surrounded this guy. And all they did was give him a shot to either the neck or the abdomen. They didn't fatally wound him. They didn't put one in his head, if you will. No. They immobilized him. And when they want to immobilize somebody, they want to gather and investigate the person. They give them investigative questions, inquiries, and things like that. But the important thing is, they already know who the guy is. Without question. They know all of us. When they arrived on scene, they said he was armed with a pellet gun and a BB gun. That's what the mainstream reporting is saying. But there's also reports out there saying that people were shot. So the lie lies somewhere. Either people were shot or they weren't. And there are people still injured. Now, I don't trust Mayor de Blasio as far as he can be thrown. He's been involved in numerous counts of corruption, insider trading, selling out the people of New York's privacy on various agendas. exercising his authoritarian control upon the people there. I remember seeing an article, I think it was a year or two ago, when it came to a frivolous thing such as soda pop. And de Blasio wanted to cut that out of New York's beverage drinking selection. That's just an example of how authoritarian this guy is. While I was investigating this, I took it upon myself, what does this guy's social media page have to say? And I came across a website called spyfly.com. And strangely enough, after their checking that they did, this guy has no social media profiles whatsoever on all the ones that are available out there. And I saved the image of that. And I'll show you right here. And I didn't misspell this individual's name. Safulia Sapioff. And I clicked New Jersey because I figured that was his closest area of resident for him to commit the attack. Now, I didn't search the Florida database, but I checked New Jersey. And guess what? They were unable to find anything. No social media profile whatsoever. So this guy is a ghost. That's another indicator telling me that this is a false flag. And this was planned and prepped out. Oh, excuse me. I have an article as well, just covering some of the basic facts of the event that went down. And this is from RT. RT.com, which for some reason, apologize, I'm having technical difficulties with this. So I'll go to another source. And that would happen to be the WashingtonFreeBeacon.com. And their page isn't loading, so I'll go to Fox News. At least 8 dead after a suspect from Uzbekistan crashed his truck in New York City. Notes pledge to license loyalty. A suspect identified as 29-year-old Sefilo Sepiev barreled into a bike path and crashed a truck into an NYC crowd. Had a handwritten note pledging his loyalty to ISIS. And there's a timeline concerning this. At 35 seconds, the video appears to show a suspect accused of a Manhattan attack. I apologize for this, I'm having technical difficulties. But another interesting piece of information I want to put out there is when there is a act of terrorism that is committed by ISIS, they will claim the credibility within hours or even minutes sometimes. Now, this attack took place at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, New York time. And so far, there has been no proclamation of ISIS taking credibility for this attack, which I find peculiarly interesting because, as I just stated a second ago, they will take credibility when they're behind it. Now the note says he pledged his allegiance to ISIS. And I have an article here from thenaturalinterest.com. Why ISIS recruits from Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan. I'm sorry if I chopped that name up. I do not know how to pronounce it correctly. ISIS operatives from Central Asia have been implicated in the Antalyk airport and Regina nightclub attacks in Istanbul. The June report was carried out by a Chechen, a Kyrgyz, and Uzbek, and this was reported in January 16th, 2017, so almost a year ago. But I tried finding if there was any terrorist connections between Uzbekistan and ISIS or Islamic State, blah, 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 and this is the closest thing I could find to it. There wasn't much any other information out there supporting this claim. During the time of this article, there was an airport in Kyrgyz. I'm sorry, however you say that. And they were ostensibly trained by ISIS. Currently, Turkish authorities suspect Kyrgyz or Uzbek as a shooter in the Reign of New Year tragedy. ISIS has claimed the responsibility back then, not currently, on Turkey, although it is impossible to confirm how many Kyrgyz, Uzbeks, and other Central Asians are fighting for ISIS in Turkey and Syria. The diplomat reports that most are used for suicide missions. Since Central Asia receives little attention in the Western press, one might not immediately make the connection between ISIS, a predominantly Arab movement, and Turkic nations of the former Soviet Central Asia. A major advantage ISIS gains from recruiting Uzbeks and Kyrgyz for terror attacks in Turkey and other places is the close linguistic and cultural traits they share with the Turks. They blend in more easily than Arabs. These characteristics, plus a tumultuous history since the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, make Central Asia fertile ground for ISIS recruitment. The Soviet collapse led to the phase of the Afghan Civil War and the outbreak of conflict in Tajikistan. Hostilities that spawned the Taliban and the lesser-known Islamic movement of Uzbekistan, the IMU. The IMU's stated goal was the replacement of the Karmagov regime in Uzbekistan with an Islamic caliphate ruled from the Fergana Valley. In order to combat the initial effectiveness of the IMU, Central Asian states Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan and Turkmenistan restricted movement between the republics of those holding visas. This did not stop the IMU from making dangerous raids into Kyrgyzstan from bases in Tajikistan in 1999 and 2000. So with the brief history put out there, ISIS has made a stronghold claim on that region of Central Asia. And they are recruiting people from that area because they feel like they're being left out. They're not getting any kind of attention, which is sad if you think about it. I mean, even though they had conflicts between terrorists and have known terrorists to reside and go and return, once again, it's making headway. But I have yet to see any kind of claim of ISIS holding responsibility or backing this individual's actions. Which is more peculiar that this guy doesn't have any social media page, because ISIS members will proclaim their act or before day of the attack 5 times out of 10 on their page, whether it be whatever one you could think of, and there is nothing. Apologize for the interruption. There's people walking by. So the bottom line is, this was the staged false flag, because there's no credibility, there is no claim of responsibility from ISIS. Now, I'm not saying that it won't happen tomorrow or later in the day, but as of yet, this very moment in time, there is nothing, no proclamation from them that they have any involvement or responsibility or announcement of praise or pride from them, as we've seen other terror attacks that have occurred within the recent months and years. When it came to attacks that have occurred in Europe and across the Middle East, they're quick to claim, yes, we did this, but not this time around. So the question I'm shooting back to is this: with what I just said, basically saying that this was a false flag operation, throughout the statements that I have made, that with the surveillance technology that is out in the 21st century, and how they have the ability any moment's notice to log in from anywhere. They could log in from DC, they could log in from a mobile command unit. They don't need any permission, which violates all constitutional and Privacy Act laws, but they could give a shit about that. They really could. And since this guy has no social media profile and no proclamation of acceptance from the government-created terror group ISIS, was this a legitimate attack? Well, the evidence seems to speak otherwise at the moment. Now, if the narrative changes and there's more body counts, that of the injured or dead that were struck, because they said there was 11 at this point, then they could change, the MSM could change that number if they go that route. That will be an indicator that yes, this was more potentially to a hoax than a false flag. But I'm leaving it at the false flag at this moment. Now, I don't know much on how to say what a hoax is and what isn't, except for the evidence put before me and really analyze it. And I'm going to study up on that and see what loopholes or may or may not be to back up such a claim that others in the truth community have made time and time again. And all they do is look at footage that's already uploaded by the MSM propaganda and say this is a hoax, blah 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 blah. And sometimes they'll put credible information supporting what they say, but other than that, I'm gonna leave it open as a false flag, and we'll go from there. Only time will tell. I want to thank you for tuning in. The bottom line is this: prepare. Prepare, 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 because the proclamation, the announcement, the declaration has been made for quite some time now by various terrorist organizations, from ISIS to Antifa to others. And they all say this is just the beginning. So do what you have to do. Prepare your family, yourself, get your bug out bags ready, get your firearms ready, get your medical supplies, food, shelter. Make sure your vehicle's in top shape to handle the conditions out there for a long period of time. Have a safe haven you can travel to, because it's going to get worse. It's not going to get any better. Not as long as Donald Trump is in office. The rhinos and the Democrats, the GOP, the fake paradigm, and the liberals and everybody else, the deep state, the New World Order, they're still all against him, and they're doing whatever they can to get him out, and not only that, but dead. So prepare like you haven't prepared before. God bless, be safe, survive another day.